Welcome back. This is Satan's Trilogy, Book 2, and it is Chapter 3, and it will be reading 61. I am the author and the narrator. Sit back, relax, and allow the story to unfold. Day drove the Mustang as usual. Riley, Grace, and Raven rode in the back seat. It took maybe 18 minutes to reach the Wilson Barnett Mall, but they found a parking place within 60 feet of the front door to Marco Polo's. Entering the store, Esther led everyone to the youth section of the store, where a new Gothic line of clothing was on display. "Wow," said Raven. "This is awesome. Look at this selection." Raven was lost for the moment, spinning slightly around to take in the view. The store had dedicated a large section to the youthful Gothic look. Esther looked at Riley Grace and smiled. "So do you think you know the look you would like to dress as?" Riley Grace immediately replied, "I know exactly what I want." Esther grinned. "I thought you would. Let's start shopping. The store owner is a good friend of mine, and he has given us an unlimited budget for tonight." Riley Grace paused for a moment as she digested what Esther had just told her, and then she was off. Followed closely by Raven, Riley Grace said, "I love this." She pulled a 3-tiered chiffon skirt from a rack. The ruffles were simply amazing. Moving on, she stopped at a rack of blouses, pulling a black silk blouse out that had black onyx stones embedded in the collar. Riley said, "No, put it back." Moving to another rack of blouses, Riley started to sort through the selection. Then she pulled out a silk blouse that was simply black material, long sleeves, and a double lapel on the front. Riley said, "This I like." Raven was slightly shocked. "Wow, you really know what you like." Riley Grace moved across a small aisle and started looking at coats. "I love this." Riley Grace had pulled out a black leather jacket, short in length and having an embossed with 6 flying ravens on the back. The sleeves were slightly long so that the cuffs could be folded back. Glancing up the aisle, Riley Grace noticed underwear and found some black panties and bra, and then she grabbed a pair of fishnet stockings that were knee length. "All I need now are some shoes, and I think they should be something with laces and a slight heel. Patent leather would be awesome." Raven spoke up, "Over there." As she moved towards a newly set up shoe department, Riley Grace turned slowly, studying the store, and walked past the various displays. "This is what I need." She was pointing at laced leather boots that were 18 inches high, with a biker's look about them. "I love them." Raven said, "I thought you wanted a slight heel." Riley Grace was smiling at her sister. "Maybe next time." These scream, "Buy me," for this outfit. Besides, the heel on these boots look close to 2 inches. I think that's a good place to start for heels. Raven gave Riley Grace a huge hug, then looked her in the eye and said, "I love everything you picked out. We really are 2 apples from the same tree." Esther heard Raven and turned to Day. Then they both looked at Raven and started to giggle as Raven looked at them, commenting, "What? Can I help it if my little sister has excellent taste like me?" Riley Grace was beaming with pride that Raven had loved her clothes and claiming her to be such good taste in clothes. The shoes were in stock. Riley Grace tried them on and loved them. Riley Grace then went into a dressing room to try on all of her selected clothes. When she came out of the changing room, Esther and Raven were both impressed. Everything fit perfectly and looked great on Riley Grace. Riley was modeling for the girls and enjoying every minute of it. With a big smile, she returned to the booth to change again. Esther used the debit card given her by Marco Polo, and then they were off to Esther's apartment to prepare for the night's event. Riley Grace could not stop talking. She repeatedly thanked Esther for taking her shopping and her sister for approving all the clothes she had picked out. As Day pulled into the apartment's parking space, Riley Grace also thanked Dave for coming along and adding to the experience. "I have the best friends in the world," said Riley Grace as they all started to get out of the Mustang. By the time everyone piled out of the Mustang, Chris, Helen, and Eve walked up to the car. "I was so excited about tonight that I couldn't rest and had to come over as quickly as possible," said Chris. "Helen and Eve were so kind. They came early with me. I have brought all of the makeup needed." Chris was holding a large black case that appeared to be her makeup kit. Esther looked at Chris and laughed. "Of course, Chris. This is what you love. I understand. Let us go inside. We will have to get ready within the hour anyway. It's really great that you are here early." Esther unlocked the door to her apartment and held her left arm back to prevent anyone from entering before her. She looked into the apartment and decided the apartment was empty, although she sensed that someone had entered earlier. Once she had entered the apartment, Esther realized nothing was missing. Perhaps she had imagined a risk. Quickly going to her computer in the spare bedroom, Esther checked the surveillance tape, and she found someone had tried, without success, to open the apartment's front door. Esther quickly sent the photos to her friend John, who informed her the intruder was only a minor thief or someone paid to violate the law for a greater cause. "Esther, please keep in contact with me. If I can help you, you know my number," said John. Esther had quickly appraised the information and responded to John. "Thanks, John. I have you on my speed dial." Esther then hung up the phone and went into the rest of the apartment. They had been close by. Esther looked at her. "Everything is fine. If I see a problem, I'll ask you to follow my directions and we'll both be fine." They had complete confidence in her sister and believed nothing could ever harm her sister, and so she felt comfortable. "You need to get dressed," said Day. "Chris is waiting to do her magic on you." Esther laughed. "Well, then I need to dress for the evening." Esther went to her bedroom where the clothes awaited her. Within minutes, Esther had dressed in Gothic clothing, and as Day positioned the black wig over her hair, Day witnessed Esther's true transformation into the Gothic world. Stepping back slightly, Day slowly commented, "Oh my God, you are so beautiful." Day said no more. Esther realized that her sister had just realized that they both were capable of showing off black at its best. Perhaps they truly were sisters. Chris was entering the bedroom at that moment, hoping to find Esther ready for her final transition into her gothic makeover. "Wow, Esther, you look awesome." Chris studied her and then commented, "But I think that I can take you to a level of gothic beauty that few have ever witnessed." Chris was serious and yet relaxed. "Let's go to the front room." Chris had her case of makeup opened and ready at the dining room table. Riley Grace stood by the table. Her makeup was complete. Simple, light, and yet certainly gothic. Riley Grace beamed with excitement. Esther looked at Riley Grace smiling, and her heart felt so much love for the little girl that had found her place with others, slightly older than herself. "Riley Grace," said Esther, "I am so wowed. You look fantastic. You are now the perfect gothic teen and ready for the Black Gothic Band." Of course, Riley Grace was in many ways older than her years, and she handled her new appearance very well. Riley Grace just beamed with excitement and thanked Esther. "Okay, Esther, please take a seat," said Chris. "You will be my biggest challenge and success." Chris started with a foundation soft and light. "Esther, I need to do a small amount of plucking on your eyebrows. I am guessing that you don't bother with the procedure, but it is important." Esther slowly remarked, "I hate this, but go ahead." Esther was not a fan of trimming unruly hairs around the eyebrows. Chris could not believe her eyes. Chris had already started to pluck some hairs that seemed in less than ideal locations. "All right, Esther, I have removed the wild hairs from your eyebrows. You can relax now." Esther had been tense throughout the entire process. She did not like removing hairs from her face, especially with tweezers. "We can continue now with the transformation." Chris grabbed the eyeliner, the blackest one she had, and she laid the black onto Esther's eyelids very heavily. Using her index finger, she started to rub the liner over the eyelids. Then, changing color, Chris grabbed a golden color stick and added highlights of gold on Esther's eyelids. Chris moved to the lips after starting the eyes. Grabbing a dark red lip liner, she outlined Esther's lips and quickly switched to a black lipstick and applied it onto the lips, but not the center of the lips. Chris then pulled out a red color stick and gave Esther red on the center of her lips. Chris followed with a darker red and then completed her color with a gold highlight. Moving back to the eyes, Chris added the gold to highlight the red areas. Extending the eyeshadow onto Esther's temples, Chris lightly brought out the golden color, which everyone now realized had glitter in it. Chris then went back to the eyebrows and pulled a gray and golden stick, highlighting the ends of Esther's eyebrows. It was time for eyelashes. "Esther, I have to give you some awesome eyelashes. I am going to brush some black eyelash extender onto them." Esther was not enjoying the process, but agreed. Go ahead, Chris. It is only for this one night. If you think I need bigger eyelashes, then bring them on. Chris had already started to apply the eyelash extender, even as Esther approved the process. 2 eyelashes later, Chris stepped back, grabbed the camera, and quickly took a dozen photos before anyone could even react to her actions. I am done. Esther, welcome to the Gothic world, said Chris as she closed her case and relaxed just a bit in her chair. Everyone was standing behind Chris, watching and waiting for the result. Day spoke first. Chris, you have captured my sister's Gothic look to perfection. I have never seen such a wonderful transition. Day looked Esther in the eyes and said, Esther, you are definitely ready for tonight. Studying Esther, Chris asked, do you have any jewelry? Yes, answered Esther. As a matter of fact, it arrived several days ago, along with some other personal items. Well, let's take a look. Chris was hopeful. Maybe you have something to enhance your new look. Esther said, follow me. She went to the spare bedroom and opened the second closet door. A tall Chinese chest was there, and leaning against what appeared to be a hard case for a cello. Esther opened one of the drawers and said, I have these and some pieces in the drawers under this one. Chris could not believe her eyes. The drawer had at least a dozen necklaces, and most with matching earrings. There were at least a dozen bracelets. All appeared to be fine jewelry. Chris studied the items and then opened the next drawer. You said there's more? And as the door opened, the most beautiful necklace that Chris had ever seen was staring her in the face. A blood-red ruby necklace with perhaps 18 large stones set in yellow gold. The stones were in a cascading setting, set in a large fan pattern. Esther, this is what you need. Chris picked up the necklace and felt the weight, realizing that this was probably a very expensive piece of jewelry. Quickly placing it around Esther's neck, Chris stepped back. Oh my God, you look so awesome. The other girls had been following the proceedings, and all were breathless. Day spoke first. Esther, I love you, and I love who you are, but tonight you are so awesome looking. Day paused and just looked at Esther, then added, you are always awesome, but now you are Gothic awesome. Everyone broke out laughing. Feeling just a bit uneasy with so much attention paid to her looks, Esther decided to spread the charm around. Well, if a necklace can make that much difference in my appearance, why don't we see if there's something here for everyone to wear tonight? Esther had been schooled in glamour and accessorizing, and she had developed her own natural eye on fashion. Esther opened a third drawer and pulled out a choker necklace with 12 large yellow diamonds. Pulling it out of the drawer, Esther said, Chris, this is yours for the night. Quickly placing it around her neck, Esther commented, you wear it well. My father would be proud. He gave it to me on my 12th birthday. Chris watched Esther pull the necklace out and place it about her neck. She touched the necklace and immediately felt humbled when Esther said it was a gift from her father. Riley Grace, you look awesome tonight too. I think the youngest girl, and certainly the cutest, needs a diamond necklace. Esther went back to the first drawer and pulled out a necklace that had 6 perfectly matched white diamonds. One long string of white diamonds suspended by a platinum necklace, then placed it around Riley Grace's neck. "Riley, you look fantastic." Esther studied Riley Grace and moved the necklace on her. Riley Grace was so excited and did not know what to say. Esther said to her, "Go to the mirror in my bathroom and check it out." Riley Grace was off to the bathroom, and without a moment's hesitation, quickly, Esther pulled out another necklace having several strands of black pearls. All were equal in size. "Helen, this is for you." Placing the necklace on Helen's neck, her open blouse showed off the pearls. The black pearls were a perfect choice. Esther next thought of Eve and found her standing close by. "Eve, I see you wearing this perfectly matched set of white pearls, given me by a wealthy Chinese merchant that my father had helped. His daughter owns a matching necklace. She is a good friend of mine." Esther smiled at Eve, having finished placing the necklace around her neck. Eve smiled at Esther. "I have always wanted to wear a pearl necklace. It's a dream come true." Eve was touching the pearls softly with her left hand. "Thank you, Esther." Eve then stepped back so that Raven could step forward. "I hope you don't mind my offering you something that relates to what Riley Grace has, but the two of you are sisters, and I think you need white diamonds also, but in the form of a choker necklace." Esther pulled the necklace from the bottom drawer and placed it around Raven's neck. It was 6 strands of perfectly matched diamonds and a sparkling band around her neck. Raven smiled at Esther. "Thank you, Esther, for making this small bond between my sister and me. I don't think she understands how much I love her." Day was the only one left. Esther smiled at her and said, "Our bond is strong. I would be honored if you wore the matching pendant to my necklace. It is a beautiful 6-carat blood red diamond, not a ruby. This was given me by an Arab prince. He had asked me to marry him, but I was only 16 years old, and explained to him that I was too young for marriage. He laughed at my answer, but accepted it." Esther had finished placing the necklace around Day's neck. The stone was a magnificent pear shape and huge, just low enough on the golden chain to center itself slightly above Day's visible cleavage, a perfect match to Day's air of elegance. This was something that Esther had observed from their first encounter, but had never remarked on it. Esther looked at everyone. Riley Grace had returned to the room with a big smile on her face. Everyone was wearing black, and everyone looked rich. "Girls, I think we are ready for a very special night," said Esther. She then turned around and closed the closet door. Esther's phone started to ring, and she quickly pulled it out of the pocket that hadn't been visible. "This is Esther," she said. Everyone stood silently as Esther took the call. "Thank you. We'll be right out." Esther grinned. "Let's grab our coats and bags. Our limousine is waiting." Esther seemed a bit more excited than she usually was. It seemed everyone was fueled by her excitement. They quickly ran into the living room, rushed about, gathering their items, and stood at the door. Esther had grabbed her coat, on loan from Day, and grabbed 2 bottles of water from the refrigerator. Checking the hallway view first, she then opened the door and everyone rushed out. Esther stood at the door and glanced at the room. Always on her defense, Esther studied the room. It should all be undisturbed when they returned. Aunt Brandy would be very late, if at all. The doctor had planned another trip out of the country, but just for a long evening. Esther understood how these trips could often go awry. Reaching the front entrance, everyone could see the white limousine waiting for them at the edge of the sidewalk. Jumping up and down and moving forward, they all approached the limo and chauffeur opened the front door for them. Everyone jumped into the limo and found a huge living space inside, with a large chest of iced bottled water and various juices in the center of the floor. The speakers positioned in the ceiling and walls were blaring out the songs of Black Gothic Band. All the girls were moving to the tunes and laughing as they grabbed a bottle from the large cooler on the floor. When Day reached for an orange juice, Esther touched her shoulder. Day turned to Esther looking for some explanation. Esther handed a bottle of water to Day and said, "You should drink this, just to be safe." Esther had whispered the words into Day's ear, so not to panic anyone else. Day never questioned Esther on her request. Day understood that Esther was alert to her surroundings and always on the defense. Day took the water from Esther and enjoyed a drink before resting back into her seat and smiling at the limousine. The limousine was very plush, with ivory leather seating on 4 sides of the interior. The floor was a plush, ivory-colored pile, deep enough that it showed footprints by everyone, and the surround speakers were awesome, playing tunes from the W.O.W. Black Gothic Band. Riley Grace was soaking in the moment and seemed to be in awe of the event. Yet she had noticed Esther and Day's reluctance to drink from the cooler's offerings, and so she too followed their example and did not drink from the bottle of orange juice she had grabbed. Eventually, the limousine pulled up to the stadium. Its approach was slow but steady. Ahead were 3 large network trucks that were filming the night's events for the evening news. Only Fox had immediate broadcast rights for airing the event. Tonight's show could only be seen live if you had purchased a pay-per-view. Fox would again be able to broadcast the night's events in 6 days on their regular channel. Okay, I'm going to stop there. That was reading 61. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, be safe and take care.